This Oakland Data Transformer tutorial covers Java support. This is part 2, which shows the choice style of subclass mapping and also shows you how to use the ODT runtime to execute a Java map. Now we're going to show an alternate way to import the Java classes to handle subclasses. So let's close and save everything here. And we're going to re-import the Java classes and choose a different option as we import them. And we'll put them in a structure called Java choice. And we'll add the same resources as before. Note we don't need to change the class path, it's already set up correctly. The class path is actually a property of the project, so it's remembered by the project. So we'll use simple class names as we did before, but here we're going to choose an option to generate a choice and a child for each direct and descendant subclass. That's another way of handling Java subclasses, like that contact class that was with the main contact property. So we'll do that import. And we see it's generated a set of structures here very close to what we had before. So now what we'll do is actually make a copy of these maps and change the maps to use the new objects. So we'll copy the map. And we'll change the map properties to set the input structure to be a different one. Instead of using the Java invoices structure, we'll use the Java choice invoices structure. So you can always change the structure underneath the map if you need to. And then we'll open up the map. And it gives you a bunch of warnings if there's discrepancies between the structure and the underlying map elements, which there are because the structure is generated in a different way. So we can go, and these warnings have to do with things being added or things being removed. So what we'll do is we'll clean up these warnings by we'll delete invalid map elements, so elements that have gone away in the structure, and we will remove any new element indications. So now if we execute, okay. So here, notice that the main contact is it's actually a choice, and you can see that these icons have the little M here as a member of that. So what happens in this style is each branch of the choice has all of the possible fields available to it. So, so if we look at an American contact, this has all of the properties that are associated with American contact and any of the superclasses. So now we will, so we have to do our mapping differently because only one of the branches of the choice is going to be populated on the input, and on the output only one of the branches of the choice is expected to be populated as well. So let's redo our mapping of this. So we'll remove the mapping. We'll remove the mappings here because they're not right, because they're mapping to two separate branches of the choice. And let's assume in this case that we're going to get an American contact coming in. So we'll map that. I didn't drag it to the right spot here. There we go. So it lines up everything there, and then we have to map zip to postal because that doesn't line up by name. And we'll map the person to the vendor name there. And now if we run it, then we see that our XML is going to have all of the vendor and the address is properly populated according to the American contact. So that's the Java to XML side. And now we'll do the same thing with the XML Java side with our new method of generating, of handling subclasses. So we'll copy the XML to Java map. We'll set the map properties to point it to the correct structure. open up the map. Let's just execute it here. And then we'll get rid of the warnings. Okay, and now we'll remove the mappings associated with the main contact. So now let's map the main contact to output an American contact. So in this case, we see again there's a branch of the choice for each one we want, and we want to output an American contact. So we'll map the vendor name to the person name, we'll map the address to American contract, we'll map the postal code to the zip code, and we'll run the map. So here the main contact is still null. So let's see why that is. Well, in a choice, what you have to do is you have to indicate which branch of the choice is to be emitted, and the way you do that is use the emit expression. The emit expression is also used for optional elements. The main contact is an optional element. So it's specified that the main contact should be emitted if the PO vendor is there, which is automatically generated when I did the mapping, but that there's nothing that specifies which branch should be emitted. So sometimes it can't quite figure that out from the way that you do the mapping, and you have to do that by hand. So let's just use this emit expression, this is present vendor. We'll just copy that, and we'll put that in the American contact emit expression. Okay, so now the American contact branch should be emitted if this function returns true, if the vendor element is present. So if we run it, we'll see that the main contact is true, is emitted, and that it's in fact an American contact, and it's properly populated by all the values that came from Java. So that's how you generate the correct class, the object of the correct class for output when you're using the choice style of subclass mapping for Java. Now we're going to use the ODT runtime to actually execute one of the Java maps. So we'll switch over to the Java perspective, and we've included a Java class here which runs the map. It's very simple, creates the runtime engine. It can either run the map from the deployed file if we choose to deploy our ODT project by exporting it into a zip file. That's this case here, or it can run it directly from the development workspace if we set the ODT dev workspace property when we run it. And then here's the code that gets the map runtime, sets the source to the Java input. The Java input is this Java object created by our test code, and then executes the map and prints the result. So we'll just run this. We have to create a new run configuration as we did before, and we can actually just copy this line here that sets the property, and we'll copy this into the run Java map configuration, and we'll run it. And here we see the XML output from the execution of the map. So this shows how you use the ODT runtime to execute a Java map.